Good morning, Villa fans, and welcome to a Aston Villa transfer talk episode. That is a very, very busy thumbnail in the background there for you. But wanted to look at possible sort of incomings and outgoings at Villa Park. 2 weeks left of the transfer window, or just a day less than 2 weeks. So looks like we're going to be busy on both fronts. Jacob Ramsey, we'll talk about the outgoings first. So Jacob Ramsey has completed his move to Newcastle. That's all done and dusted. 40 million, I think, as the fee that's come in, which is a big fee for someone that's come through the academy. Did really well for Villa. Wouldn't say that he was a world beater, but absolute, a good player for us. But PSR now it's ruining football, isn't it? I think we all saw the chant going around from the Newcastle and the Villa fans at Villa Park on Saturday. It's holding a lot of clubs back, like Villa and Newcastle, in progressing and breaking into the cartel of the top four. So Jacob Ramsey has left. Leon Bailey is currently in Rome completing a medical, by the sounds of it, on a loan move to Roma. It looks like a 3 million loan fee, followed by a £22 million obligation to buy. But we all know how these obligations go. Chelsea managed to send Jadon Sancho back to Man United without signing him on a permanent, even though the obligation was there. So, there might be similar clauses in this one as well. So Leon Bailey looks like he's departing. He's in Rome at the moment. Leander Dendoncker, I have no idea how we've done this. So we must have literally paid off his 90 grand a week contract for him to sign for someone like Real Oviedo, who are recently promoted to La Liga. Won't have loads and loads of money to spend, and certainly won't be going anywhere near the 90 grand a week for Dendoncker. So there's got to be some crafty deals that have been done here. We've probably paid up his contract. Maybe are we paying Oviedo to take him off our hands as well? A bit of a weird one, but I think there's got to be some sort of mutual kind of contractual discussions there, because I can't see why Dendoncker. I think he's still got a year left to go on his contract. So why would you give up 90 grand a week, even if you're not playing football, to go somewhere that's paying you probably a quarter of that? So it's a bit of a funny one, but he's on the plane. I did see a picture of him at the airport. So he's very much over there in Oviedo, sort of looking to seal that deal for them. And he'll be teaming up with the likes of Santi Cazorla, who's now 40 years old at Oviedo, Solomon Rondon, Eric Bailly just joined them as well. So, they're looking to bring in some experience, and Dendoncker will sort of fit into that mold. So thankfully we can get rid of Dendoncker and Coutinho in this window, which was amazing. But at what cost in terms of PSR side of things? We've had to pay up these contracts and that side of things. So yeah, it looks like he's going. So that's good news for everyone, and he can get on with his career. Alex Moreno, he's very much, I would say, third choice left back for us at the moment, behind sort of Digne and Martin. He's now 31 years of age. I'm sure that he's going to be wanting some regular football. Couldn't get the loan move to Forest made permanent. So I think, a move back to Spain and probably a move back to his former team, Real Betis, is probably on the cards there. So wouldn't surprise me if that one gets done quite quickly. We'll probably hear something about it, and then it's all of a sudden it's probably done within the 24 hours. But I very much think that we're going to get rid of him. I hope it's not a loan move. I hope we can shift him out permanently. I believe he's on about 35 grand a week. So not a great deal in football world, but obviously to me and you, it's loads. But yeah, it looks like he could be departing and going back to Spain. And I think still we've got Illing Jr., who's still there, who might hang around, although I think he'll probably be primed for a loan move as well. But Martin and Digne to cover left back between them should be enough, I reckon. So Moreno is probably going to be outgoing as well. And then the last one here in the 5, I've got Emi Buendia, who obviously has impressed in pre-season. Didn't manage to get on the pitch on Saturday against Newcastle. And I think if Buendia does go, then Asensio is the man to come in. They basically play the same position. They're sort of behind the striker. Can't really play anywhere else. So if we do see Asensio coming in, which does look very likely by the sounds of things, then Buendia is just going to be pushed further down the pecking order, behind the likes of Morgan Rogers. We saw Tielemans playing a little bit more advanced here as well on Saturday. We've got Gasson, who can play in that role as well. So my thoughts are that, if Asensio comes in, I think it's just going to push Buendia down too much into sort of third choice sort of attacking midfield position. So I think maybe he could go late in the window. Leeds obviously winning yesterday. Do they want to add him to the ranks? Daniel Farke has worked with Buendia at Norwich, and they work really well together. Regular football at Leeds in the Premier League. Big club, big stadium. That might be something that goes late in the window. But once we've got Marco Asensio over the line is what I would say. I wouldn't let him go before that. So Asensio looks like he could be coming back to looking at the incomings to Villa Park. Whether it's going to be a loan deal or a permanent, he's 29 years of age. Very little resale value if it's a permanent role. A loan deal would be best, I think, for Villa, given the PSR restrictions. Obviously, his wages would be huge as well. So again, on that side of things, it doesn't make sense. And then the other thing that I don't like about the Asensio deal is that it will push Morgan Rogers to the wing, which I don't think we see the best of Morgan Rogers out there at all. So for me, I'm not totally in favour of Asensio coming. I think he did well when Rashford was there and you had both of them sort of combining and on that sort of wavelength. If he comes to Villa now, what kind of wavelength is he going to be with like Garnacho? I just don't think it's going to be the same sort of Rashford Asensio link up that we saw early on in the Villa career. And as I said, very little sort of resale value. And where do we go in sort of 2 years' time if we do sign him on a permanent deal? He's going to be on huge wages, hard to shift. So I think we're looking at a loan deal, but let's see what happens. There are talks that that is advancing, and that could be done. Definitely before this window shuts, maybe in the next week or so. And he's turned down Fenerbahce. He's not interested in Saudi. It looks like he wants to link up with Unai again at Villa Park. He wouldn't be a terrible signing, don't get me wrong, but I just think by pushing Rodgers out wide, it's not going to really work. And Asensio doesn't really play anywhere else. So that's my big thing about that. And then the wage side of things, we're trying to cut down the wage bill. And all of a sudden, Asensio is probably going to come, 150 to 200 grand a week, I would imagine, between that sort of range. I can't see him, going below that. So if it is a permanent deal, if it's a loan deal, then maybe we can work something out with PSG where we pay 50% of his wage or, something around that sort of figure. And then we have this obligation to buy, which, maybe we don't see it through. But let's see. Asensio is definitely one that looks interesting and looks most likely at the moment as an incoming. The other names that have been mentioned is obviously Nicholas Jackson's name would never go away, as because obviously he's worked with Emery in the past at Villarreal, and he credits Emery for a lot that he's achieved in his career, and there's definitely sort of history there. But for me personally, no, he's a striker. He can't really play anywhere else. People said off the left, absolutely not. I think his touch is not great. I think his game intelligence is not great. I don't see what he would bring. And then obviously he would be behind Ollie Watkins as an attacking option and sitting there on best part of over 150 grand a week, plus the transfer fee, which they're looking for about 60 million, which is unbelievable. So I personally wouldn't want to see Nicholas Jackson come in purely because of the financials. And he's not a very good player either for me. He's not worth the money. So that's why I put the crying face emoji on that one. So personally, for me, Nicholas Jackson, no. However, I do think there is a chance it could happen. It's probably late into the window again. Maybe we get a loan deal from Chelsea or something, because he's not going to play. They've got João Pedro and Liam Delap as a striker options now. So Nicholas Jackson is sort of third choice. I don't think he made the squad for their first game. So yeah, he's very much outgoing. I just can't see him fitting at Villa. I can't see him getting the game time. Plus, he's off to AFCON as well. And we've got Gasson who's going to be off to AFCON as well. What's the point? What's the point, really? There's no sort of value in that one for me. But something in my bones just tells me it could happen on loan late in the window, just to reunite him and Emery. Leandro Trossard from Arsenal, another Belgian player, to link up with Tielemans and Onana. Interesting. I think he's 31 years of age. He's always been a player who's very good on the ball, intelligent, not the quickest, like to go round players and beat them, but he could play that sort of Jacob Ramsey left midfield role pretty well. So that one would be I would be definitely 50-50 on, depending on, again, we've got to be careful with the financials. I very much see it maybe as a loan deal. Arsenal now have got Madueke, Martinelli and Saka and, other options that can sort of play out wide. And this is World Cup year as well for, so many players. And Trossard is probably wants to be in that Belgian squad. So he's going to want to go somewhere where he is going to be playing or closer to the first team than he is currently at Arsenal. So Leandro Trossard, I wouldn't be upset about it. I'd probably favour Trossard over Asensio purely because Trossard can play from that sort of left inside, and then that allows Rodgers to continue in the 10. So if you give me a choice of Trossard or Asensio, both on loan deals, I think I'd go with Trossard just because of his flexibility. So that's one there as well, Leandro Trossard, loan deal, I reckon. Hector Fort, Barcelona, right back, 19-year-old. If we sign him, we're probably going to loan him out, as we do with most of our 19-year-olds. But looks like a tidy player. Obviously, coming through the Barcelona academy, you're going to be good on the ball, and he looks very, very comfortable on the ball. The pace of the Premier League is definitely different. Is he a replacement for Andres Garcia, who looks like he could be going out on loan also, maybe back to La Liga, perhaps? Not sure if he's settled in the sort of UK and in, on the cultural side. So not too sure. But Hector Fort, for me, is someone that we could sign and then sort of loan out. I don't see him coming in and challenging, Matty Cash too much on that right back slot. So it'll be an interesting signing, but one for the future. And it wouldn't surprise me if we got him and then just loaned him straight back out to, a Valencia type or somewhere like that, basically. So let's see Hector Fort. I don't know too much about him. Watched a little bit of YouTube about him. Looks nice and tidy on the ball. Gets forward really well. Looks athletic enough. But I think the athleticism of La Liga and the Premier League is different, isn't it? So let's see what happens there. And then the last man in your picture here is Garnacho, who looked like he was all set for Chelsea. Everything was agreed, personal terms agreed, everything agreed, and then nothing's happened for a week or so. And a week or so in an open transfer window is a long time. So, and it looks like we're crying out for width. I mean, we saw against Newcastle, there was no width in our attacking play. We had McGinn and Rodgers offering width very rarely, but it was mainly McGinn. He's not a winger. Obviously, Bailey's leaving. Ramsey's gone. So, we had Gasson and Marlon who can play the wings and probably will play on the wings. But, we might need another option. And again, this is another one that could be a loan deal. So it wouldn't surprise me if Emery did go for Garnacho. I think they would want to sell him for pure profit and get the PSR. And there's rumours about 40 million for him. So the money that we've got in for Ramsey, could we use that for Garnacho? He's still young. Emery could get the best out of him. There definitely is a player in there. You just need the right sort of attitude. He's obviously been wearing the Rashford Villa shirt while he was on holiday. So you obviously get good impressions from Rashford about Villa and the way that we do things. So again, it's a player that's available. It's not signed for Chelsea. I think, again, it could be someone that goes late into the window. The next 2 weeks is going to be quite busy, I reckon, not just for Villa, but in general, because there are still quite a few players that are sitting around waiting for a move, that need a move as well. And Garnacho is one of those. I think he would be good for Villa. I think he would listen to Emery. I think we would be able to get him to knuckle down and do well. So, as I said, there is talent there. You just need to harness that talent. So Garnacho for me is a question mark, only because, again, transfer fee. We've just got in the Ramsey money. Are we then just going to spunk that all out on Garnacho? And then obviously the wage issue as well. I'm not sure what he's on at Man United, but could there be something that happens there? I would be in favour of it for him coming in. So loan deals. Could we get a triple swoop for Asensio, Trossard, and Garnacho? That would be bolstering the attacking lineup somewhat, wouldn't it? Don't see all three of them coming in, to be honest, but it would be interesting to see. We got 3 loan players in January. Could we do another 3 loans here? Having said that, we do need some cover defensively as well. So let's see what happens there. But I think we're going to have to box clever in this transfer market. And the latest news today is that JD Canvot is another player that we're looking at. I think we made an initial bid of 17 million to Toulouse for him. He's a 19-year-old right centre back, which is obviously where we're looking to strengthen. And I think they're holding out for like 20 million. So it looks like we're not too far away on JD Canvot on that one. And I get the feeling with him, if we did sign him, he'd be someone that would hang around the squad. I think he's more kind of first team ready, and he's more flexible because he can play right back and he can play centre back. And obviously we need that cover for Konsa because we don't have a right centre back really, apart from Bogart, who I'm not sure is quite ready for a run in the team. So be interesting to see what happens in the next 2 weeks. I think we're going to be busy. I think the Ramsey's going, Bailey's looks like he's gone, Dendoncker's gone. Does it free up all these wages? Apparently we are 96% revenue to wages, which is the highest in the Premier League. So all the money that we get coming in is going out on wages, and we need to free up the wage bill. Hence why Ramsey's gone, why Bailey's gone. The Ramsey on 75, Bailey on about 120 apparently, Dendoncker on 90, Moreno on 35, Buendia on 75. So we're looking to free up those salaries and wages, and maybe sort of go with some loan deals where we're paying half of Asensio's contract, half of Trossard's contract, and maybe half of Garnacho's contract. And then JD Canvot, for example, would not be on massive wages. I imagine he'd be on 35, 40 grand a week, something like that to begin with at 19. I can't imagine him coming straight in on that 100 grand. That wouldn't work. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the next 2 weeks. But guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you want to see incoming? Any of these five guys over this side? And on this side, the outgoings. Have I missed anyone? Obviously, we're probably going to be loaning out people like Illing Jr. and Dobbin, and maybe a couple of other sort of little young fringe players. But we've trimmed the squad quite a bit with loan players outgoing with the youngsters and stuff. So it's time for some incomings. I mean, we've only got Bizot and Gasson who have come in, and we need to bring some players in, but we need to box clever on the salary side of things. So I very much think that quite a few of these will be loan deals and not permanent deals, but we need bodies through the window. We need to strengthen the squads. And guys, I'll leave it there. So like, subscribe, comment your thoughts on the transfer window, incomings and outgoings. Who do you want to see in the next 2 weeks? Until the next one, guys, which will be a Brentford preview. See you soon. Enjoy your day. Bye for now.